Reactions Matter by David W. Searcy, Jr. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share the video. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the content.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having another beautiful, glorious, marvelous day. It's about to be 420, so we decided we're gonna get this party started right now. We got 5 minutes. It's 4:15, so let's do it. Roll one, smoke one. When you live like this, you're supposed to party. Roll one, smoke one. We're all just having fun. Welcome to my channel. We're gonna get blunted and watch us a video about 100 paranormal things that nobody can explain. That nobody can explain. We gotta find a thumbnail. What's that? Ghosts? Ooh. So, do you believe in ghosts? How is everybody out there? Namaste to those who understand namaste. That means that my soul is glad to see your soul. We're in the middle of breaking open this blunt. See, we do it the old-fashioned way with our fingernails. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let's see. You break it open with your fingernail. Where's my camera? It's right there. Break it open with your fingernails. Boom, 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 boom. This is what Tupac showed me. He showed me how to do this. Now, I might cheat a little bit because I think I got enough weed broke up in here. I'm just going to let wet my cigar. Roll one, smoke one. So how was your day? How was your day? I left the mountain. I went down to Denver today. Well, almost to Denver. Well, I guess kind of to Denver. They got little towns in Denver, so it really was Denver. Went to the casino, shot little craps. They got like 2 or 3 casinos. No, they got like 2 towns full of casinos. But they only have a few that have actual craps tables, so we're experimenting, learning how to play craps. You really gotta fill the table, you know? You can't just go there and just start throwing dice. You gotta fill the table. And you really shouldn't just go with the $100 because it takes that just to get warmed up. But we did. We were up probably $50 at one point. Hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment, like the video, share the video, hit that bell notification, wherever it is, down there in the bottom somewhere. And let's dive in. 100 paranormal videos, paranormal videos that no one can explain. All right, let's get it.
Without further ado, this is Infinity, and today I'll show you the most mysterious, mystical, and unusual videos that no one can explain. Let's go.
Roll one.
Do you know what the chupacabra is? This is the name of a mystical creature, a character from an urban legend that lives somewhere in North America. The chupacabra is sometimes described as an alien that eats domestic animals. It loves to drink the blood of goats and other farm
like a Mexican thing?
None of this is legendary
Mexico
at all,
thing?
and people have been describing a real creature all along. In addition, not so long ago, a camera trap in one of the forests of North America reacted at night to the movement and photographed this. It looks like this monster's resting and taking a breather.
Is that real?
Looks like an alien.
Hold on, man. Is that real?
about this footage. And this video was shot somewhere in Latin America. Deep at night in a distant forest, people tried to find something unusual, and they succeeded. They came across a creepy monster that was busy doing something. The people were being quiet, but they accidentally stepped on a branch, and the monster reacted. Nothing more is known about this video.
What the heck?
Time is garbage time on FanDuel.
Was that a real photo? What?
The next video was shot in Indonesia, literally on the other side of the planet, and the main suspect here is again Chupacabra. People heard the strange creature hunting their animals. The monster attacked a goat and tried to bite its neck. It's exactly like in the Chupacabra legends. Fortunately, the people managed to chase the attacker away in time. They chased it further, drove it into the water, tried to stun it with sticks, but failed. Apparently, it got away. Yeah, this monster doesn't look like a classic Chupacabra, but who knows? Maybe it's some Indonesian subspecies of the mystical creature.
That didn't look like it. That looked like a...
It's one thing when something spooky happens somewhere in the woods or even on your rural property, and it's quite another thing when all the creepiness is going on right in your house, literally right next to you, as in this case. The author of this video heard someone coming up the stairs to the second floor from his room. It'd be okay, but there was no one in the house, and the man was not expecting any guests. Having gathered his courage, he looked out into the corridor and went to the stairs. Everything was quiet for a while, but suddenly an eerie stomping was heard. Scary, even through the screen. The man closes the door abruptly and decides to examine the other rooms, including the bathroom. And look, the bathroom's a mess. It's as if someone or something in here has scattered all the stuff and fled.
What the heck?
Like a poltergeist. I can't even find or think of.
Stay away from Ouija boards. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it.
Not all ghosts are so noisy and obvious. Anyone could hear such a loud poltergeist. But what about something more secretive, but no less mysterious? Cats are said to sense and see things that humans can't. You can be skeptical,
and dogs.
After watching this video, you'll be convinced of this. The owner of this house went on vacation, leaving his cats and the security camera on. Something's already wrong here. Look at the way the cat's sitting. Or rather,
there's something moving in the corner.
Normal behavior for a cat? It's clearly frightened.
There's something moving right here. I saw a shadow.
See that shadow flickering there? It was even captured by a motion-activated camera.
Oh,
this
snap.
soon alerted the second cat that came to join its congener. It may seem like there's a burglar in the house, but look. Suddenly, the door behind the second cat closes by itself. You can clearly see that no one closed it, and there was no wind either. To me,
that gives me chills, bro. This kind of stuff gives me chills.
There was a ghost in the house, and it was the first cat that was so sensitive to it. It was its shadow that was cast on the wall, and the ghost was the one that closed the door. According to the homeowner, when he returned, he found books and scraps of cat hair scattered all over the house. According to him, his pets never fight. What if it was the ghost trying to finish them off so as to not leave any witnesses?
You gotta kill out the... That's a creepy...
CCTV camera in the house, only this time the owner's here. He's asleep in his bedroom, and he's twisting and turning. Everything seems normal, he just can't sleep. But why? They say it happens when someone stares at you in your sleep. Maybe someone is psychologically influencing the person right now. That seems to be the case. As he got up and turned on the light, someone's silhouette appeared in the window. It was as if someone was peeking at the guy.
It is somebody in the window.
His hand and part of his head. It all happened again when the homeowner turned the lights off and on again. This is the very reason why many people may not want to live on lower floors or in a private home. You'll never sleep at all after that. But what or who was it? A ghost or a real life person? A stalker or a serial killer?
Yeah, was that somebody of him, friend of his, playing a joke?
Not going to be comforting. I'm sure that most of you would like to spend the night at school if you still attend school. And indeed, it's very unusual to see long corridors, classrooms, and halls in a completely unfamiliar way amidst darkness and silence. But it's all great only until something paranormal and creepy starts happening. Like in this school. Everything was fine at first, but then there was a noise and something fell off the wall.
Something's moving over here.
I think it was some kind of stand. The school kids didn't secure it properly and it fell off. But
look right here.
Explain this. A briefcase abruptly flies off the lockers and into the trash can. Then a poster flies off the wall. And finally, one of the chairs decides to come to life and move to the other wall. So, you still want to spend the night at your school, or would you rather sleep at home?
If you watch YouTube videos for at least 1 hour a week, you could be owed up to $1,000.
You're paying money to get views. That's not good.
Strange and inexplicable things can happen not only at night when dark forces rise up, they can also happen in broad daylight in public places. We see an ordinary Chinese supermarket and its customers.
What is
a
that?
woman walks by some department, she picks up a fallen item, puts it back, and something happens to her. She starts twitching and behaving inadequately. Maybe she's sick and having a seizure. No, it's more like she's possessed by something. How else do you explain a woman screaming violently, trying to break out, and so on? It's like some kind of demon is tearing out of her. After a while, it seems to be over, but it was only a pause. The woman screams again, and it's as if she emits a force wave that hits the goods and price tags. Now it's all over, but the very same item falls to the floor again. Thought that it was enchanted. Like if you touch it, you'll be possessed by a demon and act just like that poor woman. It's like the supermarket is controlled by a devil looking for victims. It's a pretty weird video.
That looks like Tucker Carlson.
After such creepiness, I suggest we take a little break from the paranormal activity and ghosts because not only can they be inexplicable, this video looks absolutely harmless. An ordinary neighborhood in peaceful Canada. Everything's quiet, but that's if you watch the video without sound. It's the sound that can drive you crazy. Check it out. I think it's one of the scariest sounds that exists. The author of this video, a woman, said that she woke up due to these frightening and piercing roars in the morning, just like all her neighbors. Neither she nor they had any idea what it was. And curiously and frighteningly, no one could basically explain the origin of these sounds. It's simultaneously similar to the scraping of metal, the sound of cars hurtling at full speed down some racetrack, and elephants trumpeting their trunks. According to eyewitnesses, the noise was so loud that everyone in the neighborhood had their windows shaking. Everyone was terrified. But what could it have been? Secret testing by the military? The roar of a huge animal that scientists have yet to discover? Underground anomalies? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Okay, now we did hear the sound of the earth in a previous video. So did that sound like the earth? Kinda. Sounded like the earth was magnetic field making noise. Maybe they were watching my video over like surround sound or something. I don't know.
Let's play a game.
No.
What do you think the DVR caught on this ordinary road? Some kind of accident? A falling tree? Or an unexplained phenomenon? You're about to find out. Let's watch. Cars are driving along the road. Nothing unusual happens, but suddenly the black car in front almost crashes into a man. He skips just half a second before the collision. Okay, sometimes it happens, but where did he even come from? I mean, we can clearly see that he wasn't on the road. He wasn't in the middle of the road or on the other side of the road. It's as if he was teleported to that place. But there's no such thing as teleportation. Or is there something we don't know?
What?
Speaking of knowledge, what do you know about Manchester? Many of you have heard that it's a city in England. Soccer fans, of course, will immediately think of Manchester United and Manchester City. But Manchester is interesting not only for this. It turns out that very strange things happen here. Here's one of them. We see an ordinary office with ordinary corridors, desks, offices, computers, and so on. At night, literally every office on the planet looks like this. But not every office has paranormal events going on in it. At some point around 3 a.m., a chair started rolling around the office. First one, then the other. There's no wind or draft, no earthquake either. If there had been, it would have moved all the chairs. But that's just the beginning.
Right?
Suddenly, all the monitors began to blink. The door handles began to be pulled by someone invisible. Drawers began to slide out by themselves. But there's more to come. Doors start slamming, papers fly out of the file drawers and are thrown to the ceiling. Now the office looks like a corporate party took place here. But joking aside, what the hell just happened? I don't
know, but that gave me goosebumps.
This is the office of a serious company. Who among adults would want to do such a stupid thing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's not exactly natural causes. Something strange and inexplicable definitely happened here. Imagine what it was like for the security guard who worked in this office that shift.
That would have freaked me out.
What happened in Manchester has remained a mystery, but far more mysterious and strange events are shown here. This girl in the elevator is named Elisa Lamb, and what happened to her in 2013 has become one of the biggest mysteries of recent years. The camera captures Elisa getting into an elevator in a hotel, pressing buttons, but the elevator doesn't go for some reason. Apparently it's broken. It happens. You can just get out and try to get another elevator or walk. But look, Elisa is clearly afraid to leave the elevator. She looks out to see someone in the hallway and then even hides so she won't be seen. Then she decides to get out. Some time passes. She gets back in and tries to leave on the broken elevator again. Suddenly, she gets out again and starts talking to someone. It's clear by the way she gestures and looks in someone's direction. At this point, the elevator finally starts working, but Elisa doesn't ride it. Now the elevator just opens and closes, but the girl doesn't return. This video clip would have gone unnoticed if it weren't for one thing. In this video, Elisa was last seen. A few days later, her body was found on the roof of the same hotel in a water tank.
What?
Investigators concluded that she wasn't murdered, that she died accidentally, but by and large, that's all they found out.
How do you
It's still
die
unclear why
accidentally
she was
when a
acting
water
so
thing on the
strangely
roof?
in and around the elevator. Maybe she was trying to get away from her stalker and later begged for mercy. Maybe it was something paranormal that made her freak out. It's unknown. It's also unknown whether this episode in the elevator is related to the girl's death. Some believe that at that moment, no one threatened her, but she was under the influence of substances or was mentally ill, hence the behavior. And some believe that this video from the elevator was edited before publication to hide something. Either way, the video is disturbing and creepy, and this whole Elisa thing is one of the most bizarre and frightening stories of all time.
She walked away that way.
We'll come back to paranormal things and events. For
Okay.
now, I suggest we take a look at some alien footage.
Yeah,
taken
let's
in
go
Texas
to
recently.
UFOs.
Check it out. In the middle of the night, residents of East Texas saw a strange spherical object in the sky. It glowed and flew,
Oh, look.
and then it looked like some kind of cloud flew out of it, which soon dissolved into the sky. The object continued to move on, and at some point it seemed to change the color of the sky. It became darker and darker, and the glowing ball almost completely dissolved in it. It was too strange for a drone, a small airplane, or radar. It didn't look like a space probe either. So was it another visit of aliens to our planet? Speaking of which, many people believe that aliens, when they make direct contact with humans, will not spare us. They'll harm and terrorize us. Or maybe they're already
They've
doing
been
that.
here
Take a
for
look at this.
years.
A man is walking down some hallway at night when
Lots of
suddenly he
years.
crashes into something black.
Oh,
This
crap.
something attacks him
Oh,
and drags him
snap.
across the floor, then leaves him alone, and the
What
terrified
the
man runs away.
heck?
Some people are sure that it was not another ghost, but an alien. After all, it's not necessary that aliens should look exactly like green men with huge eyes and giant heads. They could very
That
well
thing-
take on that appearance as well.
Oh my gosh,
At
bro.
the same time, many are convinced
I
that it was a
would-
fake,
holy
though a well-made
crap.
one. In response, theorists tell them that there are many such cases, that attack in the hallway was not the only one. In this footage, we see a woman. She washed her hands, washed her face, cleaned herself up, and went about her business. When suddenly she seemed to stumble, but if we look at her feet, we see that her gait was steady, she didn't trip. It feels like someone pushed her. And in slow motion, you can see who. You see that faint silhouette? A lot of people think it pushed the woman. It's like it was attacking her.
Oh, I
Was
do see it
another
that
alien?
time. I didn't see it
Poltergeist, evil
before.
ghost? That's unknown.
Wow.
But it's clear that there is something strange in this footage. A road connecting two towns in central Spain. An accident. A red car overturned, killing one person on the spot and injuring two others. It's sad news, but it's quite common. Accidents like this happen all the time. But
What happened
something
to me?
like this video is not something you see every day. As workers were loading the car onto a tow truck to take it away from here, something flashed near it. It could be written off as a camera glitch, but if we look closer and in slow motion, we can clearly see the silhouette of a person. Many are convinced that this is the ghost of that very man who
What?
died in the car shortly before. If so, then it turns out everything we've been told
What?
about souls is true. And after death, the soul leaves the body and moves on. Looks like this. Some souls fly to heaven, some are reincarnated, and some continue to roam the planet. That's what a lot of afterlife theorists believe. Maybe the driver's soul is still on that highway. What do I think? Take a look at this. At night in Pennsylvania, a driver accidentally filmed 2 ghosts passing in front of his car. They're barely
What the
visible,
heck?
but you can see them moving from the chariots across the field. And here's the
What
same
the
spot,
heck?
not far away. At night, just before dawn, someone's ghost appears and wanders across the field. Soon there are more and
what?
more ghosts. They appear briefly and disappear.
There's a bunch
Many
of
believe
them.
there's a reason for this. These videos were filmed in a field in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In 1863, this is where the bloodiest battle of the American Civil War took place. Over
you imagine?
45,000 men from both sides died in the
8
3-day battle.
Man, that's
Adherents
almost
of
100
paranormal
years
versions
to just
are
be
sure that
wondering.
these are the souls of soldiers who still cannot find peace for 160 years. And now we'll look at mysterious places where strange sounds are heard, people disappear without a trace, and unidentified objects fly. No one can give a reasonable explanation for all this. Haizhu. This is the name of one of the most anomalous zones in the entire planet, the Chinese Black Bamboo Valley. For more than 70 years, people have disappeared without a trace in this place. Accidents and various technical malfunctions have occurred. The site's amazing for non-Asian people. A dense stockade of bare-stemmed plants of brown, black, green, and black color, because of which it's not visible where to go. Bamboo grows so densely that the horizon simply doesn't exist here. It's impossible to look into the distance. In such a creepy environment, in the first 12 years since the place was found, more than 200 tourists, several groups of cartographers, and forest ranger teams were lost. Here we also had the fall of the plane, which didn't have any technical problems. Even the crew didn't report the catastrophe. Some attribute it all to highly magnetized basalt rocks. Others talk about some kind of giant man-eating panda, and about the steam of certain psychotropic substances that the local black bamboo can emit. UFOologists claim that the only explanation for the disappearance of people is the machinations of alien races that can generate fog for camouflage.
That'd be a good camouflage.
Molovskaya Anomalous Zone. And now we'll talk about one of the most unusual places in Perm Krai and the Urals as a whole. It's located in Russia. It got publicity in the 1990s. At that time, people were particularly gullible and didn't know about such a thing as tabloids. So if the headlines in all the newspapers were full of the Molebsky Triangle, it was to be believed. And as time has shown, people believed it for a reason. A geologist from the city of Perm discovered this place quite by chance while walking along it in the winter. During his first visit, he found a strange round footprint on the ground with a diameter of over 200 feet. He didn't want to give it much importance before time, so the scientist waited until the fall of the next year and repeated the expedition. Now a glowing hemisphere caught his eye. The further and the more the person puzzled out this location, the more he became convinced that there was something here. The footprint
actually
found was
works.
only the beginning, since very soon people began to find large black figures there, together with larger luminous objects.
What is
At the
that?
same time, all that was found exhibited intelligent behavior. In September 1999, an expert group arrived on the spot and confirmed the anomalous nature of the area. According to them, they heard a very loud running motor, giving the feeling that something gigantic was about to come out of the woods. It's not surprising that the Molebsky Triangle has become in high demand, and many tourists have come here. However, this is what ufologists believe ruined the mystique of the place. The number of strange things gradually decreased, and as a result was practically reduced to zero. Do you think this place could be connected with aliens? Or are we faced with a common trick to fool naive people? Kizilkum. This is the name of the mysterious desert that I'm going to talk about. It's located in Central Asia. The desert's incredibly vast in terms of its territory, and at the moment is not well studied. People constantly find strange flying objects over it. Moreover, ufologists, locals, and ordinary tourists testify about them. The largest of the objects was seen in 1990. Its length was about 130 feet. A UFO hovered over the surface of the desert and illuminated it with a very bright light, like a giant spotlight. A few minutes passed and the craft evaporated as if nothing had happened. Interestingly, shortly before the appearance of the flying object, geologists came across a strange rock in the desert. They took it for examination and came to the conclusion that such soil simply doesn't exist on Earth, probably has an alien origin. Not only the sand, as it turned out, kept its mysteries, so the scientists found something interesting on the stone walls of the local caves. They discovered ancient rock drawings which speak in favor of the presence of aliens, as they show people in spacesuits, flying objects, and incomprehensible objects. All of this could be a common fake, or it could be the first ever authentic confirmation of something alien. Nevertheless, it's not been possible to prove or disprove the authenticity of the findings to this day. It's time to tell you about a rather unusual anomaly, as strange as it may sound. The fact is that the Taos hum is a sonic phenomenon. On Earth, there are places where, from time to time, one can hear the sounds that came from nowhere begin to permeate the space. And it's not the wind, not the noises of ponds and waterfalls, and not the underground work done by people. Some witnesses of such sounds are convinced of their mystical origin. Filmmakers are making popular science fiction movies, and scientists are racking their brains to unravel this phenomenon. These mysteries include the hum observed in the city of Taos, USA. The sound comes from nearby deserts and represents… how can I explain it? Well, imagine the sound of heavy machinery moving along the highway. That's something the locals often hear in this place. The paradox is that there's absolutely no highway near this place, let alone any heavy machinery. According to one theory, the residents of Taos are able to capture such sound vibrations as autoacoustic emission. A third of the people on the Earth are able to hear a faintly quite buzzing or ringing due to the non-standard structure of the inner ear. Another theory is that this is due to the lithospheric plates, which are somewhere deep below. Their movement is supposedly causing the noise. Global warming is also attempted to be applied to the Taos hum as the root cause. According to this theory, when glaciers melt en masse, there's a certain crackling sound caused by the breaking of bonds between hydrogen atoms. This is exactly what the locals can hear. Another hypothesis tells us about the infrasonic noise created by two ocean waves hitting each other. So a whole series of such collisions in the ocean, and this is enough to be heard over long distances. Or maybe it's just some aliens, because there's always a version associated with aliens.
What do you think it is?
Share your opinion in the comments. And let's move on. Chapel
Still
of
going
Bones.
back to that.
We bones that are here
What?
await yours. There's the inscription engraved on the arch that stands at the entrance to one of the creepiest places in Evora
What
Portrait.
the heck?
I'm talking about the entrance to the Chapel of Bones. There are many theories about its origins. Some say that it was erected in the 16th century by the rulers. They said they wanted to remind others of the transience of life. Others say the chapel was built by locals when they realized there was no place else to bury people. There's also the opinion that the monks had something to do with it. They're said to have insisted that the chapel be built on human bones so that nothing tragic would happen.
What
One
the
can
heck?
forever speculate about who built it and under what circumstances, but the fact remains. The place is insanely dark and gloomy, literally and figuratively. There are only 3 small windows that let light in. When asked how many skeletons it took to build the chapel, sources give varying information. The figures range from 3 to 10,000. But how is it even realistic to find so many skeletons? Some say that all these people are victims of the plague or dead soldiers. Others are convinced that they're all ordinary volunteers who agreed to die to create something insanely important.
Huh. Mass genocide.
This is the name of the lake I'm going to talk about. It's also called the Chinese Bermuda Triangle. The lake got its name mainly because of an event in 1985 when about a dozen ships disappeared without a trace on its territory. Over time, the strangeness only increased, and people began to talk about thousands of drowning victims that left no clue behind. This certainly suggested that either something strange from a natural point of view was going on here, or aliens were reigning there. Oddly enough, most people are of the first opinion, unrelated to UFOs or other such things. Locals believe that it's the fault of a giant turtle, which swallows everyone who happens to be in the area of Poyang Lake. It's not possible to detect and find the turtle due to the fact that it is the largest freshwater lake in China with a basin area of over 62.5 thousand square miles.
Wow, 62.5
City of the
thousand.
Dargaze is the largest and at the same time mystical necropolis of the Caucasian. There you can find more than 90 tombs with the remains of people from 14 to 18 centuries. This place scared absolutely everyone so much that even the residents of these territories were afraid to go there. They believed that the living did not return from the City of the Dead. The legend of the necropolis's appearance is quite unusual. A long time ago, a very beautiful girl came to Dargaze. She was the embodiment of everything that was the best. No wonder the men began to go crazy and left their wives. The better halves, offended by the stranger, went to the elders, hoping that they would solve the problem, but the elders were also influenced by the girl. Only the female sex was not dazzled by her beauty. Thinking it was some kind of curse, the wives gathered together and finished the stranger off. The spell was broken, but it was too soon to rejoice. Very soon the village was struck by an unknown terrible disease, and even when the bodies were buried, the next day they were found again above the ground. Then people began to build crypts and bury the dead there. The City of the Dead harbors many mysteries indeed. For example, some of the skeletons lie in kind of boats, but this area is not supposed to cross the water at all. According to one version, the barriers believe that the soul must cross the river to get to heaven. Another interesting fact is that there are no doors in the crypts, only small windows in which it's unclear how people fit. Armenian Stonehenge. And this is one of, if not the most mysterious place in Armenia. It's called Karahunj. It's located 125 miles from the city of Yerevan. Karahunj consists of more than 200 huge blocks of stone. Excavations have shown that there was an ancient settlement of people here, and most likely it was they who put these stones. Moreover, they did not put them randomly, but in a certain order. Somewhere they put them in a line, somewhere they put them around the circumference, and some stones there are also holes. Some scientists assume that the holes in the stones are located so that it was convenient to observe different stars and constellations. There's also a theory connected with cattle. They say that the ropes were put through the holes and thus fenced the territory off. There's also a version that it's a huge tomb. This is evidenced by the human remains found. The large circle is nothing more than a kind of altar or place for sacrifices.
People of old time, well, they were crazy.
Next up is another mysterious place where they found very strange structures made of stones.
Crazy.
Scientists called these labyrinths sightings. They were built by the Sami civilizations, who were pagans. And it would be fine if there were only one labyrinth and it was used for this or that ritual. But after all, more than 40 labyrinths were found. Outwardly, they're stones laid out in the form of a spiral. At first glance, the construction seems rather fragile, but the fact that it's been standing for many years casts doubt on this assumption. These labyrinths can be of any shape, even pyramidal. Archaeologists who do not believe in local legends are still unable to establish the exact purpose of the labyrinths. One of their main assumptions is fishing. In addition to the purpose of the labyrinths, it's not clear how they were built in the first place. The fact is that these stones are more than 7,000 years old. At that time, advanced technology was out of the question. The most powerful earthquake, a volcano awakening, and snow in the Sahara. You'll see this and more further in the episode.
Snow in the Sahara.
Something incredibly destructive and dangerous happened on the territory of Turkey and Syria on February 6th. And the name of this something is earthquake. At the time of making of the episode, there are more than 50,000 victims. More than 100,000 people were injured during the tremors from underground. At the same time, the earthquake could be felt in other regions. But in other countries, either everything happened many times faster, or it was just very weakly felt. Thousands of buildings were destroyed. As a result of the earthquake, the lithospheric plates in Turkey had shifted strongly relative to one another. The level of the land in the state fell by 15 to 20 feet, putting the country under the threat of destruction of river dams and flooding. A crack about 100 feet deep and 650 feet wide was formed in the area of the fault. Even after the end of the cataclysm, the plates continued to shift. And it's not surprising. The seismic energy that was released as a result of the earthquake was equal in power to the explosion of several hundred medium-sized atomic bombs. You may think I'm crazy, but I see not only a natural reason for this, but also a mystical one. The fact is that shortly before the earthquake, a strange glow was observed over the Turkish sky. Scientists suggest that the incident can be explained by the phenomena of triboluminescence, in which electrical charges arise in the air as a result of the movement of lithospheric plates and the friction of rocks. Fortunately, the earthquake is over, and scientists say it won't happen again soon. However, they say this with a bit of uncertainty for fear of being incorrect. The fact is that this phenomenon on February 6th was capable of changing the behavior of the entire Eurasian lithospheric plate, its speed and direction of shift. It's not yet clear to anyone for sure what this will affect and what will await us in the future. But not only some obvious cataclysms can be strange or even scary omens for people, many researchers of the paranormal activity consider the village of Kodini in India as one of the main places of recent times. More than 40 pairs of twins are consistently born there per about 1,000 people. People who are not particularly versed in statistics, probably a little confused, and cannot even guess how many twins are born in the ordinary world. But believe me, this figure is 3 or even 4 times lower. Doctors, UFOologists, all sorts of theorists, each of them has been researching this village for the past few years, but they can't come to anything. Today, about 220 pairs of twins live there, and 3 families have triplets.
Quadruplets.
At the same time, the population of Kodini is small, only 2,000 families. The main version of the origin of this phenomenon is said to be a connection with the chemicals in the local water. But this is also a rather controversial statement. Women who leave the village and move to remote areas still often give birth to twins. Against this background, there's also some people who say that this is some kind of sad omen that's trying to protect people from something. But no one has figured out what exactly the higher forces want to tell us. If you have your own thoughts on this matter, be sure to share them in the comments.
So per 1,000 people, they have 4 times as many twins or better, triplets, quadruplets than the rest of the world? That's crazy. Why would one area have so many twins? What do you think? I'm to ponder that one. That's definitely something interesting.
However, if for you such mysterious places of our planet are not something catastrophically important and dangerous, then here's some real news. On the island of Hawaii, after nearly 40 years of silence, the largest active volcano on Earth, Mauna Loa, began to erupt. All night long, lava filled the caldera, and soon the lava flows flowed down the slopes. Fortunately, because of the opened cracks, lava did not reach the settlements. But scientists earnestly ask not to rejoice too soon. According to the volcanologists, it's possible that new cracks may open, and as a result, the lava could go down the northern slope and reach the road. It remains to be seen what exactly has awakened the volcano, which has been silent for 40 years. By the way, this is not the only amazing volcanic eruption that occurred recently. In recent years, there was also a striking eruption in the Calbuco volcano in Chile.
Wow.
This, too, was quite an active volcano, and its last performance, similar
that's
to Mauna
crazy.
Loa, was about 40 years earlier. But that didn't stop it from changing for the worse for people and erupting for the sake of the good old days. Calbuco literally exploded, beginning to eject volcanic ash several miles high. This is that very case where the expression of dreadfully beautiful fits perfectly.
Yeah,
it's
no
nice
doubt.
to enjoy the view only through a screen thousands of miles away. In reality, being near Calbuco was literally unbearable. As soon as the Chilean government learned of the volcanic eruption, it asked people to stay at least 12 miles away from the site. And that was only the first measure.
That ain't near enough.
Snow in the Sahara. A desert city in the northern Sahara has been covered in snow without human involvement. According to eyewitnesses, the precipitation formed beautiful patterns on the sand. Some see this as a New Year's mood of nature, while others notice something strange and warning in the patterns. By some strange coincidence, the number 40 also magically appears in this story. This time, for the 5th time in the last 40 years, an abnormal cold has overtaken the Sahara. Do you think it can be connected with mysticism? Or is the expression "seek and ye shall find" appropriate here, in the sense that people who wish to mystify all these cataclysms will always link them together if they wish? It's likely that the catastrophic events that occurred in early 2023 are somehow related to an extremely rare comet that flew past Earth. It belongs to the category of long-period comets. The last time it passed the Earth, about 55,000 years ago in the Stone Age, and there may not be the next passage at all. It seemed that the comet would simply pass by the Earth and nothing terrible would happen. But here, fans of mysticism have also joined the chat. Many people from all corners of the Earth have begun to claim unanimously that this comet is a kind of a reset button of the Earth. Many thousands of years ago, it flew past our planet and changed the direction of its development. Who knows? Maybe the global changes in the world have recently been launched again, and all these cataclysms are quite explainable by this logic. Usually, people associate with rain a kind of tranquility, a kind of peace and solitude. But that certainly can't be attributed to Japan and their black rain. The fact is that it's already fallen in this country. It happened on August 6, 1945. On that day, the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. It was after this terrible event that the rain with its characteristic color fell. The specialist gave the following explanation. Radioactive cinders from the fire mixed with the rainwater. Now imagine the faces of the Japanese people who know the story and got caught in exactly the same rain somewhere in the middle of the week. I think the phrase, "they were very scared," doesn't even come close to conveying the anxiety that people felt at the time. Fortunately for them, and for us too, the government quickly analyzed the rainfall and found that there was nothing to fear. There was no radiation in the rainwater. Still, the strange phenomenon remains without further explanation. Most likely, the cause was a common fire somewhere nearby. Probably the small particles got high enough into the atmosphere and later fell out with the rain. On the other hand, it could be another sign from above that something terrible and sad is coming again.
Black rain, though. That's
Mysterious
crazy.
guests. On February 4th, 2023, the U.S. Air Force shot down an unidentified flying object over the state of South Carolina.
Shot it down?
It flew almost all over the country, and at the moment when the object was already directly over the strategic locations, the state decided to shoot it down. It was flying at an altitude of 11 miles and showed no aggression. Nevertheless, the authorities mistook the object for a spy device that needed to be dealt with as quickly as possible. The mystery of the UFO was immediately dispelled when China admitted that it was their weather balloon, which had lost control and accidentally flew into the United States. If that had been the end of the story, no one would have said a word about it, but it was just getting started. Not much time passed, and on the night of February 11th, people found another lost weather balloon off the coast of Alaska. A day later, they found another one, and then another, this time near the Canadian border. The U.S. decided not to shoot down these flying objects, expecting the authorities of China or another country to say thank you, and at the same time apologize for repeating the situation. But none of the other states have confessed their rights to these flying objects. In addition, many American researchers and scientists have long been puzzled as to why the authorities have not shot down new UFOs. After all, they were even externally, as the researchers claim, different from the weather balloon. It's likely that they were aliens or some sophisticated surveillance mechanism. The Pentagon said the last fourth object flew directly over strategic targets, but couldn't be tracked or detected shortly before its arrival. Coincidentally, the timing of the UFO's arrival mysteriously coincided with a time when American radars were glitching. Well in airspace, the UFOs threatened the safety of civilian aircraft. The military has not yet been able to explain what made these vehicles move, although it's noted that all three objects were similar in size and moved at similar speeds. According to the authorities, in the end, they did manage to shoot down one of the last vehicles, but the search for it is still ongoing. If the wreckage is found, then the authorities will be able to examine the object in detail to see if it belongs to a human. It'll turn out to be either a spy device of neighboring countries or some kind of alien creation. That's all, guys. What strange things have you noticed lately? Write about them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.
All right. Well, there you go. Oh, my goodness. That was some crazy stuff. Those ghost stories, they get me every time. I mean, they get me every time. That was kind of weird. Camera kind of went out of focus. Not sure. My camera just seems to be doing crazy stuff. Anyway, thanks for smoking with me. I will see you in the next one. Peace.